The first of your loudest salawat in honor of the greatest man to walk this earth, Al-Habib Al-Mustafa Muhammad. The second in honor of the greatest lady to walk this earth, Al-Hawra Al-Batulati Fatimah. Allah. And the third with your loudest voice is in honor of our Imam, Imam Sahib Al-Asri Wal-Zaman. Allahumma salli. In commemorating Fatima Zahra in these nights 3 times a year, we find ourselves being asked the question, how much can we truly learn about Fatima Zahra? As in and time again, we'll find ourselves in the majlis hearing that yes, we should learn about Fatima Zahra, study Fatima Zahra, learn as much as we can from Fatima Zahra. However, there's something that we need to understand. First and foremost, you'll find people asking, well, what from the life of Fatima should I learn? And once I understand what from the life of Fatima I need to learn, what's the best way in which I can apply it to my life? Because the aspect of knowledge when Fatima Zahra comes in the sermon and states to us, acknowledge that I am Fatima. And that echoes through time. How many of us actually can say that we know the essence of what Fatima Zahra stood for? The essence of what Fatima Zahra went through in every single day of her life. The trials and tribulations, the oppression. How she dealt with everything and what we can learn from her. There's an emphasis on knowledge from Rasulullah at a very early stage. When Rasulullah would come with tradition telling us the importance of increasing yourself in knowledge. Traditions that suggest to us Rasulullah stating that you should learn knowledge from the cradle to the grave. That there should not be a distance that you should not travel to attain knowledge when he states, seek knowledge even if it's as far as China. اطلبوا العلم ولو في الصين. He begins to tell us that you should learn or begin to learn at a younger age because it's as if you're writing on stone. It's engraved, it'll stay with you. As in, when you go further into your life, it becomes harder and harder to apply it to your life. We begin to understand this. And we look at Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib when he takes Kumail one day. Kumail says, Amir al-Mu'mineen will take me to Dhahr al-Kufa, which is another name for Najaf. And he would tell me, oh Kumail, there are 3 types of people. The first of which, Alimun Rabbani, a scholar that is close towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second of which is Talib ala sabil al-najat, a person which wants or strives to learn in order for his salvation. And the third is Hamajun Ru'a' yan'aquna ma'a kulli na'aq. People that are like riffraffs, let's say. Whatever they hear, they repeat. Whoever the wind goes, they follow. So we begin to understand there are different sections. There are different aspects to knowledge. There's different levels of importance. How can we differentiate, dissect everything so we can learn about the life of Fatima Zahra and what we need to gain from it? We're going to ask 2 particular questions today, but we're going to explore them in depth. The first of which is the correct lens to look at Fatima Zahra in? And number 2, what are the different levels of truly knowing a personality? So inshallah we can bless the majlis and start the topic for tonight with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The different Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli. The different lenses that are there that people look at Fatima Zahra in. The first of which, they look at Fatima Zahra through the lens of the family that she was in. Meaning, they would come and say Fatima Zahra is great, or the essence of Fatima lies in the fact that Rasulullah was her father, the mercy of mankind, the final prophet. The greatness of Fatima is because she was the daughter of such a mercy to mankind. The same blood that goes through Rasulullah is the same blood in Fatima Zahra. Therefore, this is the greatness of Fatima. And we should respect Fatima, learn about Fatima. We ask them why. They say, because she's the daughter of Rasulullah. You should learn about her life and seek to put her as a role model figure. That's one particular lens. And we see many a times we respect a person for the family that he was brought from. And we can see this in many different countries. You'll find a particular family that is very well known. Whether the people that come from that last name, let's say, are good or bad, irrespective, you find people would respect them. Well, there's a huge question mark looking at the actions of some people. We can't go into too much depth. But the idea is even Rasulullah in his time, when he would capture people after one of the ghazawat, amongst the ladies was a lady by the name of Safana bint Hatim al-Ta'i. Safana would say to Rasulullah, she would say, "O Muhammad, do you not know who I am?" He says, "Who are you?" He says, "I am Safana, the daughter of Hatim al-Ta'i." So Rasulullah in honor, Hatim al-Ta'i was the person which his name would be hand in hand with generosity. Rasulullah acknowledged that he had a characteristic which needs to be revered. So in honor of her father, Rasulullah would come and say that, "O Safana, because of who your father was, if he was a Muslim, we would have sent our rahmah to him. لَتَرَحَمْنَا عَلَيْهِ." However, it's unfortunate he wasn't. But because of him, I will free you, O Safana. Safana turns around by saying, "Well, what about the ladies that are with me that are captured?" Rasulullah would turn around and say to Safana, "Because of you and in honor of yourself, I will free all of them." That's honoring a personality. Now, when we really want to ask ourselves, how much did they truly honor the daughter of Rasulullah? When Rasulullah would say to us, "Hold on to two things, the Quran and my Ahlul Bayt, my Ahlul Bayt, my Ahlul Bayt." How much did they take care of it? Fatima between the wall and the door. Ali struck in sujood. Hassan poisoned. Hussein massacred with everyone alongside him. And when the prisoners were caught, you think because of the honor of Rasulullah, they chose to free them? Or they dragged them from one city to another. So the first lens you'll find that people look at Fatima Zahra is the lens that Rasulullah was her father, Ali was her husband, Hassan and Hussein were her sons, and they begin to say that the importance of Fatima lies in those around her, which is an injustice to Fatima Zahra. It's saying that Fatima didn't have the characters to be revered. It's saying that Fatima Zahra is only important because of those that she's surrounded by. True, the greatness is there that who her father was, that Allah states, and we mentioned yesterday that if it was not for Ali, there would not be a person that's equal to marry Fatima, and likewise if there was not Ali, or there was not Fatima, there was no person equal for Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. We find that Fatima was the connection between prophethood and imamat. But it's not the greatness of Fatima. The essence of Fatima Zahra is still not captured. It's not explored. So what's the second lens that people look at Fatima Zahra through? And we'll find we fall into a trap. Because us as Shia, we love hearing the miracles of Ahlul Bayt. And you'll find, especially in our text, when you research, you begin to see some texts do injustice because the way they portray Fatima Zahra, it's as if she prayed her whole life and everything happening around her was just miracles. As an example, you'll find in Bihar al-Anwar in chapter 43, there's sections just saying that Fatima Zahra, whilst she's in prostration, Allah would allocate an angel to do the stirring of the pot to cook. He'll allocate the angel to grind the wheat. He'll allocate an angel to rock the cradle of Aba Abdullah Al-Hussein. And it's as if Fatima Zahra did nothing and all she did was pray. Now don't quote me wrongly when I say that Ahl al-Bayt didn't have miracles. We believe the Ma'soomeen have something called Al-Wilayat Takweeniyah. Now whoever knows what that is, knows that what they are capable of. The miracles are an effect of what their character is. If you're just looking at miracles and not looking at why Allah has allowed them to have such a status of miraculous events occurring, you haven't captured their essence. We don't deny that there was miracles upon miracles in all their lives. But we can't paint the picture that Fatima Zahra just sat and there were miracles around her. That's not capturing or portraying the essence of Fatima Zahra. The third lens that we need to look at Fatima Zahra in is a lens in which we go down to the depth of the everyday life of Fatima. Let's take a tradition of Amir al-Mu'mineen and compare the differences in hadith to show which one portrays Fatima to be greater. The first that we mentioned, that Fatima is in sujood and the angels are doing everything for her as a miracle from Allah. Or the tradition that states Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib says to Ibn Sa'd, he says, "Oh Ibn Sa'd, shall I tell you of the daughter of Rasulullah? Shall I tell you about a woman that I did not have any love for a person as much as I had for the daughter of Rasulullah? Shall I tell you that, oh Ibn Sa'd, that of how much she used to stir the pot when she was cooking, it laid or left an effect on her chest. How much that she used to grind the wheat, it left an effect of roughness and breakage on her hands. How much she used to dust the house, that the effects would be on her clothes. How much she used to put the fire under those pots before she would cook, she would be burnt by the flames. So much so that when I used to see the daughter of Rasulullah, I would feel heartbroken for her condition, and I would tell her, oh Fatima, why do you not go towards your father Rasulullah and tell him that I need assistance with the housework?" And Fatima Zahra would not say. When Rasulullah would come towards the house, I would ask him, can you help Fatima Zahra by allocating a servant for her? And the tradition goes on to say that Rasulullah says, I will give you something greater than a servant to help you within the house. And that's where he teaches him the aspect of Tasbihatul Zahra. You'll find on one side Amir al-Mu'mineen portraying what Fatima Zahra did in an everyday perspective. And in another aspect we find that there's a portrayance of Fatima Zahra just praying and the housework is done for her. Now let's think about this. As a person that wants to explore the life of Fatima Zahra, that wants to portray it not just to us as the followers of Fatima, but to the outside world, to notify who's our role model, that both the males and the females take from, which one would you tell them about Fatima? Which is the one that you will show them the essence of what Fatima did? Rasulullah would come and say, I would come to the house of Fatima, I would see her in one hand rocking Imam al-Hussein and the other grinding the wheat. In a tiresome manner, I would tell her, oh Fatima, you have sped up the tiredness and the hurt in this dunya for the reward and the blessings and the taste of akhirah. And Fatima says, oh Rasulullah, oh my father, isn't that what we're here for? Which one allocates the greatness of Fatima? When we look on an everyday perspective, there's a narration that we have that's mentioned in the Quran. When we find Amir al-Mu'mineen, look at the, let's say the husband and the wife coming together and how they raise their children. When we look in the Holy Quran, And we come across a chapter that allocates to us that when Hassan and Hussein were sick, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib and Fatima Zahra would come together and they would say, would make a nidhr towards Allah. If Hassan and Hussein become well, we'll fast for 3 days. They become well, they fast for 3 days. And we'll find on the first day, a miskeen would come and say, oh, household of the Prophet of Islam, I am a miskeen. You'll find they're fasting. But look at how she's raised her children. The traditions tell us that the children would run towards the door with their loaves of bread before Fatima and Ali. Allocating to us what? How Fatima would raise her children. Taking into account Hassan and Hussein. When Fatima died, they weren't above 8 years of age. Some says 6, 7, some says 7, 8. So at that young age, they would know how to give in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Insha'Allah, I've just been requested to, inshallah, if we can come forward to help the brothers coming in from the back. Please, if everyone can stand, رحم الله من ذكر القائم من آل محمد. اللهم صل على وآل محمد. So we'll begin to see an aspect now when we delve into her life, that we begin to know which lens to look at the life of Fatima Zahra. We shouldn't look at Fatima's greatness to be who she had around her. Nor should we look at Fatima Zahra in the lens that says that Fatima's life was just miracles. We should look at Fatima in the lens of what she used to do in everyday actions with her father, with her husband, with her children, how she would raise them, how she would be at home. And if we look at truly the life of Fatima Zahra, especially in these days of calamity, we'll begin to analyze, and inshallah tomorrow in more depth, that she would, whenever she would be hurt or hungry, Amir al-Mu'mineen, many a time he would come home and he would see that Fatima Zahra would be in a state where her face is pale. And he would say, oh Fatima, what's the matter? Fatima would reply by saying, oh Amir al-Mu'mineen, we have not had food. And Amir al-Mu'mineen would tell her, Fatima, why did you not tell me? And Fatima would reply, I did not want to trouble you. Oh Ali, I know that you are my husband. However, what if I ask from you and you cannot bring forth what I ask? I don't want to trouble you, O Amir al-Mu'mineen. Nowadays, let's put ourselves into that circle. Would we do what Fatima did? Fatima would not show her pains towards Amir al-Mu'mineen, even so that when Amir al-Mu'mineen was washing her body, he would see the bruises on her face, on her eyes. And he would say to Asma, he would say, now I know why Fatima didn't look at me in her last moments. She did not want to show me the hurt and the pain that she had came in contact with. So I am not hurt. Look at Fatima, the essence of Fatima Zahra. When we look at her miracles, we should actually look at her actions to be miracles. Fatima's patience was a miracle. Fatima's stand against oppression was a miracle. Fatima's zuhud was a miracle. Fatima's treatment towards her dad, her father Rasulullah, her treatment towards her husband Amir al-Mu'mineen, her treatment towards her neighbors, to her servants, to the people around her. Whenever Islam needed her, whenever the Imam needed her, whenever her children needed her, you'll find the most perfect manner if you want to explore what to do in any situations, you look and explore the life of Fatima Zahra. That's the true miracle in the life of Fatima, if we truly want to explore with that particular lens. Which brings us to the second question. An understanding of a personality. When we want to learn about a particular personality, what are the different levels that a person may attain in learning or exploring a person's life? The first of which is a basic knowledge of a person's life. Basic knowledge means, if I was to study the life of Fatima, the basic knowledge means knowledge that doesn't have an effect on me. It doesn't matter how little it is or how vast. Meaning, if I was to read a book, which is a small biography of Fatima, I would learn that this is her father, this is her mother, this is when she was born, her age when she died, what happened as an incident, the children that she had, the stories between her and those around her. And I could read a small page, or I could read books upon books, encyclopedias. It does not matter, because there's a level of I'm just learning about the life, but I'm not applying it. I'm not taking anything from it. It's knowledge for the sake of knowledge. Basic. Does not have an effect. This is not what we want to gain from Fatima Zahra. This basic knowledge isn't what we're aiming to achieve from the nights of Fatemiyah. Not what we want to take home. Because any of us can come forth and bring a book and read about the life of Fatima. When we go home, what do we take home from that book? What do we take home from the lecture about the life of Fatima Zahra? So what are the other levels that a person can attain from the knowledge of Fatima? The second, we'll find linguists come forth by the terminology stating that the second level is reflective knowledge. Ilm tahqiqi. This reflective knowledge tells us that there's an aspect when you learn about the life of Fatima Zahra, it automatically affects you in your own life. How can it affect me in my own life? It means you need to reach an understanding of the position of Fatima. Once you reach an understanding of her position, then you will know what to do with the stories of her life. Then you will begin to analyze her movements and how you could trace them. From history, we'll find people didn't understand the position of Fatima, such as in an incident, it's recorded that the first and second Khalifa would come to the house of Amir al-Mu'mineen after usurping the right of Fatima. They would come, Amir al-Mu'mineen would come towards Fatima Zahra, and he would tell her, "Oh Fatima, such and such are at the door, they want to come in. They want to speak with you." She says, "Oh Ali, you know my position from them. But this house is your house, and I am your wife. Whatever you choose, I will agree with 100%. So Amir al-Mu'mineen would bring forth the first and second. They would sit. They would plead for Fatima's forgiveness. Fatima, look at what she does. Fatima would turn her back towards them the entire time, and she would tell them, it says, "May Allah bear witness on me that I am angered with you, and I shall not forgive you until the day of judgment." The tradition says that the first began to cry. The second would look towards him and tell him, whilst he's crying, he says, "Do you cry from words from a woman?" The second would tell the first, whilst he's crying, "Do you cry from words from a female?" Is this a person that understood the position of Fatima? What can I say about a man that entered Islam by hitting a lady, and indeed left the cocoon by slapping the daughter of Rasulullah? Not understanding the position of the daughter of the mercy of mankind. You'll find people knew who Fatima was, the daughter of Rasulullah, but you'll find he didn't know in an aspect the position truly in the eyes of Allah and the aspect of infallibility. When Fatima Zahra would come in towards the courtroom, the first Khalifa would be sitting whilst she's talking to him and telling him that this is my right. I'll bring forth witnesses. I'll bring forth such and such. He says, we don't take Ali as a witness. We don't take your sons as witnesses. They're your family. Of course they're going to witness for you. Amir al-Mu'mineen wants to showcase to us that this person doesn't know Fatima, does not comprehend the position of Fatima. He asks the first person a question. The first Khalifa would ask him. He says, I want to ask you, if a person was to come and say that Fatima Zahra wal-iyadhu billah has committed an act of indecency, what would you do? He says, I would ask for witnesses. He says, he produced witnesses. What would you do? He says, then I'll have to prosecute Fatima. Ali says, therefore you have become a disbeliever if you do. Sorry? I've got witnesses. The Sharia clearly states, he says, but Allah has bear witness to Fatima. Where? Chapter 33 of the Holy Quran, ayah 33. إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. He says, who are you or anyone on earth to bear witness to Fatima being impure when Allah has witnessed to her in the Quran of her purity and her status? Therefore you have not understood the essence, which is Fatima. And you will find many people, the main danger is when you learn knowledge for the sake of knowledge. When you don't delve deep and try to apply it to your life. When we look at the life of Fatima Zahra, we begin to analyze, she wasn't infallible. Angering her is angering Rasulullah. Angering Rasulullah is angering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore we begin to analyze when we delve deep into her life, and if anyone wants to seek the truth. Someone comes to you and says, well, why is there so many different sects within Islam? Why is there so many differences? Why is one group trying to kill the other, one group trying to defame the other, attacks? You bring them to the door of Fatima. Tell them, I don't want to say anything. You go and research the door and you'll know the truth for yourself. But knowing the position of who Fatima is, then you'll begin to see the truth from falsehood. You'll see who rose against who killed who stood up for who. And you'll begin to see everything with clarity. Why? Because you will begin to understand that Fatima's life has effect on our life now. And that's where the reflective knowledge comes. When you want to reflect upon her life, you will say to yourself that Fatima Zahra was silent with particular aspects. But when it came to religion, Fatima Zahra says, I will not stand when they were taking Amir al-Mu'mineen. If we want to look at that in an aspect, how much have we given towards our Imam Sahib al-Asri wal-Zaman? How much? We say we want to see the Imam. We want to meet the Imam. We cannot wait for his arrival. There was a person just like us by the name of Ali Rajab. If anyone's come across him or his story, same thing. He says, I want to reach a closeness towards my Imam. I want to meet him. He would go towards the scholars. He'd tell them, how can I meet my Imam? And he kept going and going. He used to sew garments for the houses, meaning like the garments that, as an example, that I'm wearing, he used to sew them. And he would used to sell them. That was his life's work. All of a sudden he came into an aspect where he says, I just want to meet my Imam. He left everything, left his work, stayed away, just stayed in the house, praying, prostrating, praying to Allah to meet the Imam, and praying, worshipping, stayed up the nights with faster days. And he would say, I would see the Imam in a dream telling me, go towards this particular avenue in the marketplace. There you will see me. So he says, the next day I was excited. I wanted to see my Imam. So I ran towards that particular place. In that particular place, the people were selling pots and pans. So he says, I was just looking, trying to see where the Imam would be, what he would look like, what would he come as, how old he was, how tall he is, how he would walk, how he would talk. He says, I was waiting. And you know, mashallah, in the Arab countries, when there's one shop, let's say there's a jeweler, the whole road is jewelers. When there's a dahina shop, the entire row is dahina. And subhanAllah, each and every one of them says, I'm the original Abu Ali. And so when he was in that row, every single person was selling pots and pans. He says, I just waited, looking. Amongst the people I saw, he says, I saw an elderly lady walking, going into one shop, coming out, going into another shop, coming out. And I saw her distressed. And says, I came closer just to see what's happening. She comes in one shop, out another. Until she came to a man, he says that he looked like he had alamat al-iman, meaning he looked pious. So he went closer to see what's the dialogue, what's this woman that's coming in and out of the shops. What's going on? How can I help her? She looks distressed. So she says, I heard the dialogue. The lady would say to the man that appeared to be pious, she says, I have this pot that I cook with. I've fallen ill. When I've fallen ill, I needed to sell this pot. I need 6 coins. Just 6 gold coins for this pot. Would you give me 6 coins? And I'll sell it to you. I'm in need of this pot. But out of desperation that I'm selling it. He says, you want 6? He says, I won't give you 6 until I weigh it. I'll see how much it actually is worth, and I'll let you know. She says, okay, no worries. He goes back inside, comes out. He says, I'm not going to give you 6. He says, I can give you 20 gold coins. She's looking at him like, come on, I've been to every single shop in this street. I told them I want 6. None of them has offered me above 5. And you're telling me 20 gold coins. So she's thinking to herself, this guy is really trying to joke with me, let's say. Don't want to use other terminologies. But he would say, no, if you want, I'll give you 20 gold coins. That's how much this pot is worth. He says, well, without a problem, take it. I'll take the 20. He says, I'll sell it for 21. I'll make my 1 gold coin as a profit. And I've made a profit. And I'm happy. And you've got your right, which also makes me happy. The lady says, thank you very much. You're an honest man. And she goes. When she goes, Ali Rajab comes. Bear witnesses this. Remember, this is a man that wanted to see the Imam above all else. Gave up his lifestyle in order to see the Imam. He runs to the person that appears to be pious. Look what he says to him. He says, what a fool you are. And the man looks at him. He says, why? He says, the lady wanted 6 gold coins. You've given her 20. Look at how much profit you would have made. You know what the man would reply to Ali Rajab? Something that we need to learn. He says, أَبِهَذِهِ النَّفْسِ الْخَسِيسَ تُرِيدُ أَن تَرَى إِمَامَ زَمَانِكَ. With this black soul, you want to see the Imam of your time? You think it's all about praying and fasting and not putting it into application? The first chance you have at ripping off a lady to make a profit, you go for it. It says, this is what the Imam is trying to teach you. So this man would go and come back, go and come back. He says, this man is pious. I wanted to learn more from him. He says, until a point that came. He says, there's a man that entered his shop. Whilst I was sitting there, it's as if every single joint in my body did not move. He says, he entered and he left. And he says, as he left, I regained my strength in my limbs. And I asked this pious man, he says, oh, pious man, who was that? And he would say, that's the man that you're after. That's Imam. And he says, let me go to him. He says, no, he came for you, but only to deliver a message. What's the message? He says, I want you to tell my Shia, don't worry about coming and visiting us or trying to come towards us. He says, just follow in our footsteps and we will come to you. Now let's take that into account. When we know people such as Salman al-Muhammadi, why did he reach such a high rank? When people would see him, they would call him crazy sometimes. Why? Because they would see Amir al-Mu'mineen walking and would retrace the steps of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Meaning, to an extent where Salman would put his left foot where Amir al-Mu'mineen would leave his foot track. To that extent, some people followed the Ahl al-Bayt. How much have we followed the Ahl al-Bayt? When someone comes and curses us, would we do that which Imam Hassan and Hussein would do? Where they would turn around and tell the man that curses them and curses their father, Amir al-Mu'mineen. They would tell them, oh man, if what you're saying is true, may Allah forgive us. But what if you're saying is wrong, may Allah forgive you? Would we do that? Or if we look at a person looking at us in a different manner, we would go and start trouble. Is that the akhlaq of Ahlul Bayt? Is that the akhlaq that we need to take on board and learn from Fatima Zahra? We don't just learn about what she did, the stories and how she overcome them and say to ourselves, wow, what a great lady. No, the lessons are there for us. They're a guide for us to take. We say, yeah, she did good. But when it comes to everyday action, how many of us actually apply it? How many of us actually are respectful in all aspects to our parents? How many of us can comfortably say we treat our children the same way that Fatima treated her children? How many of us can say we treat our husbands like Fatima treated her husband? And how many of us can say we treat our wives like Fatima was treated by Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib? How many of us? So it's just calling ourselves believers of Ahlul Bayt and followers of Ali, and all of our Instagrams and Facebooks and social media have 313, and we have tattoos from top to bottom about wilayah. The aspect that we need to learn is how much we can apply it to our lives. Yes, we are proud to call ourselves from the followers of Amir al-Mu'mineen, the followers of Fatima. But that pride has to stem from us being able to live their life and be able to trace their footsteps in every aspect. There's a scholar that has a profound saying. He says everyone has the ability or has the capability within their life to either choose with the choices they make and their actions to get closer towards being a Hussein, or deviate to become closer towards a Shimr. Everyone has the capability. It's all the choices we make. And it's never easy. Never easy, especially being a follower of Amir al-Mu'mineen. When Rasulullah would say to one of his companions that said, oh Rasulullah, I love you. And Rasulullah would reply by saying, if you love me, then prepare for poverty. If you love me, you're going to succumb to particular aspects of poverty. He says, what else do you like? He says, oh Rasulullah, I love Ali. I follow Ali. You know what he replies? He says, prepare for trials and tribulations. Prepare for calamities ahead. You think it's easy holding on to the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the rope of Ali? Of course it's not easy. That's where the trial and tribulation is. When coming to the Fatemiyah nights and remembering Fatima Zahra, we need to remember her outside the majlis as well. The second level, therefore, is al-ilm al-tahaqquqi. When we look at this third level, we find this third level, if we achieve this rank, al-ilm al-tahaqquqi, meaning to dissolve in the love and follow in the footsteps of a person to its complexity. The complete aspect of this person, this role model's life, I apply. I've dissolved in their knowledge, I've dissolved myself in their life and in their love, and I apply and I see nothing else in my life. We have examples, of course we do. People that have dissolved their lives in role models. The first of which we know none other or no better example than Ali ibn Abi Talib dissolving in the love of Rasulullah. Amir al-Mu'mineen, can anyone say he didn't follow in the footsteps of Rasulullah? Indeed, the reply that we have for people that accuse us that you follow Ali to the T, we say yes, because Ali followed Rasulullah to a perfect situation. Everything that Amir al-Mu'mineen did, we knew surely because he dissolved himself in the love of Rasulullah, the knowledge and understanding of Rasulullah, that to follow him is to follow Rasulullah. To call ourselves Shia of Ali is to call ourselves the Shia of Rasulullah. When we find he dissolved himself so much in the love that he was ready to sacrifice himself. Not just sacrifice his leisure, sacrifice his health, wealth, well-being for the religion. He was ready to sacrifice himself. Meaning, when Rasulullah would come to Amir al-Mu'mineen, "Oh Ali, will you sleep on my bed? But your life will become in danger." Imam Ali would say, "Oh Rasulullah, tell me one thing, will you be safe?" He says, "Yes." He says, "Therefore, Alhamdulillah." Ali would enter sujood thanking Allah for the opportunity to sacrifice himself for Rasulullah. That's how much you've delved into the love of a personality. That's an infallible. So much so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was amazed with the sacrifice of Ali. He would tell Jibreel and Mikael, he says, "Ya Jibreel, O Mikael, come towards me." They say, "What is the aspect that you need from us?" He says, "No, I want to ask. If one of you were to sacrifice themselves for the other, أَخَيْتُ بَيْنَكُمَا, I have made you two brothers. Which one of you are ready to sacrifice his life so the other may live longer?" And Mikael, Jibreel, they're looking at each other saying, "I don't know, man. We lived for millions of years." He says, "Therefore, go down to earth and send your salutations towards Amir al-Mu'mineen, because I have made him brothers with Rasulullah, and he's just sacrificed himself in honor of Rasulullah Muhammad." The second example, we're going to do very briefly, inshallah, as we're running out of time. But the example we have from the 10th of Muharram, a companion that was a brother of Imam al-Hussein, which sacrificed himself. But the position that he held was a position that 3 Imams kissed his hands. Amir al-Mu'mineen when he was born, Imam al-Hussein when he picked his hands, and Imam Zayn al-Abidin before he buried them. A person that sacrificed himself for his Imam, which was his brother. He delved into the love of Imam al-Hussein so much that he would call him master and only master until the final moments of his life. He uttered the words, "Akhi Hussein." How much must you delve into the love and understanding of a personality to achieve this? So you say, well, this is Ali, this is Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas that have delved. We have an example. Before going to the Musibah of a lady that lived with Fatima Zahra, a lady that was a servant of Fatima Zahra. Let's see what she's achieved. Because this third level, al-ilm al-tahqiqi, or al-tahaqquqi, this ilm al-tahaqquqi, if you were to delve deep into the knowledge and application of their lifestyle, you'll begin to analyze that there's a certain level that I can guard myself to achieve a level of infallibility, not divinely guarded, but of my own actions, my own garden. When I guard myself from sins, I've reached a particular level of infallibility. And you can reach it by delving into these particular personalities. This person's name is Fadha. Fadha, traditions tell us of a narration between him and a man by the name of Abdullah Mubarak in the deserts, where she only replied to him by referencing the Quran. So everything she uttered from her mouth was the words of the Holy Quran. And it was said that 20 years, or the last 20 years of her life, she would only reply by referencing the Holy Quran. This is a lady, a servant that lived next to Fatima Zahra, and this is what she learned. This is a lady that delved into the knowledge, the understanding, and the application of Fatima Zahra. So when we referenced earlier Fatima Zahra saying, "I'lamu anni Fatima," she's saying to us, acknowledge who I am, understand who I am, comprehend who I am, and see how I, Fatima, dying at the age of 18, can affect millions upon millions, century after century. That I affect each and every one of you, whether it be male or female. But first you need to know who I am and what to take from me. Fatima Zahra, alayha afdal as-salati was-salam, Fadha that learnt everything, was there with her every step of the way. Fadha was there when Fatima was struck between the door and the wall. Fadha was there when she knew about Amir al-Mu'mineen being struck. Fadha was present when Imam al-Hassan was vomiting his insides out into a tasht. Fatima Zahra alayha afdal as-salati was-salam knew who Fadha was, understood that I can teach her. This is a person that will take from me. This is a person that can apply what she's learnt from me and teach others. Fadha is a person that we need to take as a role model for us of how to gain and apply to our lives. Fadha was present there. But what did Fadha see, brothers and sisters? In the incident of the door, she sees a Zainab, 4 years of age, seeing her mother in such a state, seeing her father being taken in ropes. Imagine a daughter, 4 years of age. If anyone has daughters here, you can imagine your daughter. If something was to scare her, how much your heart would break. If something would scare her or hurt her, if something would scare her, just that face that she would make would break your heart. Now imagine if your daughter was Zainab. Imagine if your daughter just saw her mother and what happened to her between the wall and the door. Imagine seeing your unborn child or your unborn brother laying there on the floor. Imagine seeing your mother drenched in her blood. Imagine your father being guarded out in ropes by men. Imagine Zainab, where would she go? Would she go towards Ali? Would she stay to help her mother Fatima? What would Hassan and Hussein do? What would Kulthum do? It's narrated that in the final moments in the life of Fatima Zahra, Fatima's health will begin to deteriorate. Asma would tell us that I saw in the final moments and the final hours in the life of Fatima, the final days, I saw her deteriorating day after day, and it hurt Amir al-Mu'mineen, it hurt Al-Hassan, it hurt Hussein, and it hurt Zainab and Kulthum. It had a toll on the family, the holy family of Rasulullah. She says all of a sudden, Fatima Zahra, as she's deteriorating, she has a dream. In her dream, she would see Rasulullah. He would say, "Oh Fatima, just this night, ilayya ya Fatima, towards me, you're going to come. This is the final night that you will have in this dunya." All of a sudden, as she awakes, she sees herself going towards Hassan and Hussein. Zainab and Kulthum, Asma narrates, I saw Fatima Zahra all of a sudden gain strength from her state that she was in. All of a sudden she brought Hassan and Hussein and she began to bathe them. She began to clothe them. She would make food for them to feed them. She would bring Zainab and Kulthum. She would gain them closer towards her. She would embrace them. She would clothe them as well, feed them as well. She would look at them. In this situation, you'd find Amir al-Mu'mineen entering the house. When he would enter, he would see Fatima. All of a sudden, she's gaining strength. It's as if Amir al-Mu'mineen had some hope, a glimpse of light, a glimpse of happiness in the eyes of Amir al-Mu'mineen. To see Fatima having strength, he would say, "Oh my wife, oh my beloved Fatima, I see that your health and your state has become better. Are you getting better, oh Fatima?" She says, "Come towards me, oh Amir al-Mu'mineen. There's something I need to tell you." She takes him in the room. She says, "Oh Ali, it's the final day that I'll be with you, oh Amir al-Mu'mineen. This strength that I've conjured is the last strength that's remaining in me, because I saw in the dream Rasulullah, my father, telling me it's the last day you will be living amongst your family, the last day that Amir al-Mu'mineen will see you, the last day Hassan and Hussein will hug you, the last day that Zainab will hold on to your cloak. So, oh Ali, I wanted to see my children for the final time. Oh Ali, I'm 18 years of age, oh Ali, but I want to see my children. None of them are above 8 years of age. I'm going to leave them as orphans with you, oh Ali. Oh Ali, take care of them." I ask you, oh brothers and sisters, I want to ask you, a woman, when she's about to pass, usually the lady, the mother would take extra care with her daughters. Why? She would tell the daughters, "Oh my daughter, take care of your brothers. Cook for your father. Take care of your father." But I want to ask you, when she brought Zainab into the room, what did she tell her? What did she tell Zainab when she brought her in? Did she tell her, "Take care of Ali"? Did she tell her, "Take care of Hussein, take care of Hassan, and take care of Kulthum"? She would tell her, "Oh my 4-year-old Zainab, I want to leave you with my final will." What's your will, oh my mother Fatima? What are you going to tell your daughter, your young 4-year-old daughter Zainab? What's your final will? She would say to her, "Oh my daughter Zainab, there will be a time when you'll see your brother on the plains of Karbala screaming, 'Ala min Nasir yansuruna, ألا من ذاب يذب عن حرم رسول الله. Is there no one to assist me on this journey? Is there no one to aid the family of Rasulullah? She says, yes mother, what then? She says, I want you to go up to him. He'll be on his horse. Tell him to get down. When he gets down, I want you to tell him to open his shirt. I want you to allow him to reveal his neck and his chest. She says, yes my mother, what next? She says, I want you to kiss him on his neck. She says, oh mother, then what? I want you to smell his chest. She says, no problem mother, then what? But why? She says, my daughter, my 4-year-old delicate innocent daughter Zainab, because that neck will be severed from the body. She says, what about his chest? She would say that chest will be trampled by the hooves of Bani Umayyah. Fatima Zahra would leave the will with Sayeda Zainab. Then she would tell Asma, after bathing the children, clothing them, she would tell Asma, Asma, I'm going into my room. I'm going to recite the Quran. Oh Asma, if you do not hear my voice, call out for me. If I do not reply, oh Asma, know that I have joined my father Rasulullah. So Asma would take the children out. She would close the door. Every now and then she would go next to the door of Fatima. She would listen. She would hear the voice of Fatima reciting Quran. Then all of a sudden she would go, but the voice of Fatima wasn't there. She would say, my lady Fatima, can I come in, my lady Fatima? I do not hear your voice any longer. She would not hear a reply. She would go inside and she would see Fatima Zahra laying there. Return to Rasulullah, joining her father. All of a sudden she hears someone coming in. Hassan and Hussein enter. She closes the door of Fatima. What does she tell Hassan and Hussein? She can't tell them that your mother Fatima is now died. She would tell them, Hassan and Hussein, you must be hungry. Let me make food for you so you may eat. Hassan and Hussein would tell her, oh Asma, look at how she raised the children. She would say, oh my children, would you like food? Hassan would reply, he would say, Asma, when did you know us to eat without our mother Fatima? Oh Asma, is something wrong with our mother? She would say, no, there's nothing wrong. Hassan would open the door, would enter, and he would see Fatima Zahra. He would throw himself on the body of Fatima. He would say, oh my beloved mother, I am your son Hussein. Hassan would come, would say, oh my mother, I am your beloved son Hassan. There was no reply. Hassan and Hussein, morning they would run towards the masjid of Rasulullah crying. You'll find Abu Abdullah running towards Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib. He would see them. It's as if Ali knew. He would come after Hassan and Hussein. The narrations tell us, look at what happened to Amir al-Mu'mineen. The traditions tell us that as Amir al-Mu'mineen was going back towards the house of Fatima, every now and then he would fall on the floor. Your Imam, because of the calamities, as he'd walk, he'd fall. He'd walk and get up again and then he'd fall. All the way until he reached Fatima Zahra. In the final moments, brothers and sisters, he's laying the coffin of Fatima. He shrouds Fatima. He tells Hassan Hussein, Fatima, now I've shrouded her. Hassan Hussein, come forth. Zainab Kulthum. Imagine sons and daughters seeing their mother in the shroud for the final time. Your young mother for the final time, brothers and sisters. You'll find Imam al-Hassan on the right hand side, hugging and embracing his mother Hussein on the other, saying, oh my mother, reply to to us, I am your beloved Hussein. The traditions tell us that Imam Ali would say the following lines. He would say, والعيش الذي عاشه رسول الله. سمعت الزهراء أنت وحنت وخرجت يداها وحضنت الحسن والحسين. He would say, by the life that Rasulullah lived, I heard the voice of Fatima moaning in agony, taking her hands out from her shroud, hugging Imam al-Hassan, hugging Imam al-Hussein. All of a sudden, he would hear a cry from Jibreel, Ya Ali, nahi al-Hassan wal-Hussein. فوالله لقد أبكيا ملائكة السماء. Jibreel would say, Oh Ali, move Hassan, move Hussein from the chest of their mother Fatima Zahra. Ali would remove Hassan and Hussein. We mentioned this, we'll mention this again. Imagine, brothers and sisters, if the angels could not handle Hussein on the chest of Fatima, how can they handle Shimr on the chest of Aba Abdullah? إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين.